What's going on, everyone? It's Mike back again, and this is your match reaction. It was Everton 0, Aston Villa 0. A game that was a little bit scrappy from both teams. I think both teams can play better. Aston Villa, they would have had more of the possession over the two halves, but and to be fair to Villa, they did have more chances than us, but they did struggle to break us down. They did struggle to get any of their fluidity, and part of the reason for that was because Everton pressed as high as they were coming out. Everton would press them. So yeah, I mean, for me, I think it was an okay game. It wasn't the most enthralling game of football I've ever seen. I think Villa probably might think that they probably deserve something more than a point out of the game, but if I'm being honest, I didn't. I didn't think they were great at all. They certainly, surprisingly, to be honest, I actually thought they'd be better than that. Bearing in mind they blew us away 4-0 at the start of the season, they just didn't seem to be able to link up passes properly. Watkins was dealt with, essentially. He was isolated, and we've struggled against Watkins in the past, but we didn't. In the second half, I think, especially Yuri Tillemans, he tried to make the game quite bitty. Got himself a stupid yellow card as well. Absolutely lost his head. So yeah, all in all, I'm all right with 1-1, with 0-0. Villa did have a goal disallowed for offside. When you look at it, if it's a goal, if they score and they don't give offside, then I'd like to see if it was a foul on Danjuma properly, because he's the one that keeps them on. He's sitting on the deck because he's been wrestling with a Villa player. Now, I'm not saying it's a foul or not, but you'd have to review that properly. It turns out that it looks like Villa were offside by a smidge, so their goal didn't count. And then obviously Everton had one in the second half where, Doucouré, again, he just mistimes the run, and we get in and he slots it home. But Calvert-Lewin had a one-on-one, which he should be scoring. It's difficult to talk about Lewin. It's difficult to talk about DCL because he clearly is the best striker at the football club. Because when Beto come on in the second half, you may as well have stopped attacking, because he can't do anything. He can't hold up the ball. He's too flat-footed. I mean, there was the opportunity where I think the ball pops into midfield, and all he has to do is take a step and get to the ball, and he doesn't because he's planted. He's flat-footed, and he's not a Premier League striker. He's not a Premier League striker. I am sure he is very capable in slower leagues, but he is not a Premier League striker. He's never going to be able to get up to the speed of the game, and he's never going to be fleet-footed enough to be able to deal with the pace. And I mean, by a pace, I mean more like agility of going from left to right, and the spring in the step. He just doesn't have that. And it was detrimental to Everton today, because the moment you come on, and it's going to happen. The moment you come on, you know you're not going to score unless it's from one of the other players. Danjuma, I thought, was all right. I thought he did all right in the first half, especially. He definitely had an opportunity, but he gets it wrong. Everton definitely had chances today. Certainly in the first half. There was a lot less in the second half. And Villa did have more chances in the second half. Duran had a header. There was a couple of moments in the box where it was a bit last-ditch for Everton. So there was that. But yeah, I thought it was just a typical, old-fashioned, a bit of bite game of football. And I have no issue with that. Again, two historically big clubs in English football. So, the point will hurt Villa more than it hurts Everton. It's a good point for Everton. Everton will take that. Especially with some of the feedback around, the Bank of England and some of the very senior people in this country all supporting Everton's bid for the unlawfulness of 10 points rather than a fine and all sorts of ramifications like that. So the Premier League have, they've looked like idiots today. At the start of the game, you could hear the boos. So Sky showed that. So I do think the narrative is changing, certainly from senior people within the country, that Everton have been over-punished. And that's not me saying we don't deserve a punishment. You know my take on that. But it was just a game that I felt like we were up for. I think Villa, it would have meant a lot to Villa getting 3 points in this, but their away form, which isn't as good as their home form by any stretch, isn't great. And in 3 occasions we've played each other this season, we've won one, we've drew one, we've lost one. So, against a team with the quality of Villa, I'm not complaining about that at all. But we've just got to keep going. We've got these fixtures coming up now that are not easy, but they're games that Everton have got to get points out of. We are where we are in the league for a reason. 10-point deduction or not, we need to get away from it. And I'm not concerned that we won't. I'm really not, but just want to see a little bit more clinical passing in the final third. I want to see finishing. Calvert-Lewin's 1-on-1 today. It's gilt edge. He should score, and he doesn't. He actually makes it really easy for the keeper because he opens his body up too early. You can actually see where he's putting the ball before he does it, and you saw the in the second half when Doucouré had one. Albeit he's offside, he absolutely slams the ball home, and that's the difference. That is the difference. That's a 1-on-1 with 2 different Everton players, and both of 2 different outcomes. You've got a player with confidence, great to get him back in the team, and you've got a player that's confidence is on his arse. He kept on holding his eye as well, so I don't know if there's something wrong with Lewin's eye, but he definitely struggled with that. But substitutions again, they're kind of what you expect. He was proactive. He did make them first, or at least it looked like they were first, so he was trying to be proactive. But again, McNeil slows the game down. Danjuma's more aggressive, more pacey, more try to get through the line, whereas McNeil doesn't have that pace to do that. And I'd argue McNeil's probably more of a finisher than Danjuma. So if you could mix the two, that would be great, but you can't. So yeah, I thought Harrison did all right today. I thought Coleman's was all right. I thought Onana had a better game than we've seen recently. He seems to have stepped up. It's funny that he seems to be better when Doucouré's in the team. It's because they link up well. James Garner was in the tackles, good bit of bite. Mykolenko, as always, doesn't let you down. Tarkowski, there was one moment where the ball hits his chest in the first half. Branthwaite, I thought, was absolutely fine as well. Solid. Dealt with Duran when he come on really well because he's a physical presence, the lad, a very talented footballer, but we seem to deal with him. And Seamus Coleman, well, they didn't get much change out of him either. So, yeah, look, Villa are a good team. They're going to have chances, and we cope with it. And, I thoroughly think we deserved a point, and I think it could have gone either way for 3 points either, to be honest. I don't think any Villa fan really would have gone, yeah, Everton didn't deserve a point out of that, if they really sit there and watch the game back. But I don't care if they do or not. At the end of the day, man of the match for me, it's a difficult one for me. It's difficult to give a man of the match in the game because I didn't think any players from any team stood out. I'll probably give it to Branthwaite. I'll probably give it to James Garner actually because he worked hard in the middle. He did try and play the ball forward a lot. He did have that shot in the first half, which Martinez made a lovely save from. That was the follow-up to Calvert-Lewin's gilt edge 1-on-1. So, yeah, I'll give it to James Garner, just. Guys, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. But, yeah, that's your reaction. There's not really much else to say, is there? The game was bitty. it wasn't a great game of football. You know, you don't sit there and you get blown away by any of the skills. I thought the midfield dealt with each other essentially. It was probably like an old English, old-fashioned game of football. Bit of bite, bit of aggression, couple of head injuries, you know, a bit of blood and tape and whatever. Yeah, we move on, guys. See you soon. Peace.